Niners fans, it's about that time. 4 o'clock on a Thursday. Faithful Niner Empire. What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. Once again, it's a pleasure to be in front of the faithful, the Niner Empire, the best fans in the NFL. It's a pleasure to be in front of you guys once again. I appreciate everyone who subscribes to Jay in the Bay on YouTube. Shout out to everybody who follows me on IG, Twitter, and shout out to everyone watching on that good old Spotlight Sports Network. I appreciate everyone watching me from there as well. I don't know where everyone else is at watching, but in the Bay Area, it is hot. I'm glad I'm in the house. I believe it's like 100 plus degrees today. How's everyone else doing on a Thursday? I'm just trying to stay cool. And I just wanted to chop up some, NFL, some Niner talk. There's a bit, and speaking of the 49ers' latest news, there was a bit of news that just came out like an hour before I came on, and I actually made a video on it on my YouTube channel. But first, this show is nothing. This show is nothing without the fans, without the people who subscribe to Jay in the Bay. Also, all the other NFL fans, including 49er fans who watch Jay in the Bay. And this show is, of course, nothing without the people who converse with me on the channel, the people who leave comments. I appreciate it. And let's get into those comments. Pete Gorman, the first person here, the first person who left a comment. What's good? How you doing, man? How's your Thursday going? I appreciate you coming through. Appreciate you supporting Jay in the Bay YouTube channel. Next up, we got Damian Lee. What's good? Damian Lee always brings his insight. Damian Lee is a diehard 49er fan. I appreciate his insight always. And Damian says, Eric Armstead needs to ball with that contract he has. And you know me, Damian. I definitely agree with that, Damian. We've conversed back and forth throughout this year, about Eric Armstead. He needs to step up. And I will definitely be talking about Eric Armstead later in the show for sure. But I appreciate your comments, Damian. John Cannon, what's good? I like your avatar, man. How you doing? Thanks for tuning in to Jay in the Bay, man. Hopefully everyone's staying cool out there, man, because it is hot out here. Hopefully everyone's staying cool where you at. Roberto, what's good? How you doing, man? Thanks for coming through to the stream. We're just going to talk about some good old red and gold. We're just going to talk about the Niner Empire. And appreciate you coming through, Roberto. John Cannon says, please like the channel, guys. I appreciate you. Whether you watch it on the Spotlight Sports Network or if you're watching on Jay in the Bay, I appreciate if you leave a thumbs up for the video, especially if you're enjoying the stream. And thank you very much. Andrew Smith says, hot day in the valley today. I know, man. It is hotter than fish grease out here, man. This morning it was like 80 degrees at like 8 a.m. Like it's crazy hot today. I think it's supposed to be crazy hot for the next few days. I think it's going to be in the hundreds the next few days. And then it'll cool down in the weekend. But yeah, stay cool out there, guys. Payo time, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, Payo. How you doing today, man? Thanks for tuning in. Let's see. Payo time says, how's your day? My day is going good, man. I'm staying inside. It's very hot outside, as I mentioned before. So I'm staying inside, trying to stay cool. How you doing today, Payo? It's like Payo time says he had a hot day in Canada as well. Yeah, it's hot all over. But yeah, first, let's start off with the breaking news, the most recent news from the good old red and gold from the 49ers. So as you look at that ticker, defensive end Jordan Willis has been suspended from the NFL for about, I believe it's about 6 games for PED use. And Jordan Willis, we acquired him last year during the 2020 regular season. And we acquired him from Cincinnati Bengals. And this year, I didn't anticipate Jordan Willis starting for the team. I definitely did not anticipate that. But I expected him to be a, rotational edge rusher. And unfortunately, for the first 6 games this year, we will not see Jordan Willis. It's very unfortunate. So that's one less player that we'll have, on the team, for the first 6 games. One less player, Jordan Willis, edge rusher. Now, fortunately, John Lynch, he added multiple players this offseason on the defensive line. Arden Key, Maurice Hurst, brought back DJ Jones, still have Contavious Street, Armstead, Kinlaw. Did I mention DJ Jones, Bosa, Sampson from the LA Rams? So, we have a lot of depth, but yeah, it's definitely unfortunate that Jordan Willis will be out. So that's one of the breaking news that I just heard about that Jordan Willis like an hour before I was going on today. So that's very unfortunate for the team. Also, on a bit of better news is the 49ers state of the franchise, June 30th. Make sure you mark your calendars. The state of the franchise for the 49ers. And I believe they said you can only view the state of the franchise press conference on the 49ers app. So make sure you download the 49ers app. Then you can check out the state of the franchise. And the state of the franchise, the 49ers will be going over, I believe, let me get back to my list. Let's see. The 49ers, they'll be going over several items during the state of the franchise. Let me get back to that. Let's see. Okay. So the state of the franchise, June 30th, 6 p.m. Pacific time. The 49ers will be going over, there'll be business updates from President Al Guido. The 49ers, there'll also be news on the 49ers Foundation, the 30th anniversary season-long celebration. That's good stuff. There'll also be interviews with the CEO of the Niners, Jed York. General Manager John Lynch will also speak. Head coach Kyle Shanahan, George Kittle, and Fred Warner. So that's exciting news to hear from, the head of the franchise and 2 of the best players, on the team. Also, there'll be appearances from NBC Sports Bay Area, Laura Britt, Jennifer Lee Chan, and reporter Kalena Martin, and 49ers radio play-by-play announcer Greg Papa. So a lot of big names will be at this state of the franchise. Make sure you mark your calendar, June 30th, 6 p.m. Pacific time, and download the 49ers app. That way you can view it. There'll also be updates on the return of fans to Levi's, but they already pretty much said that there'll be 100% fans available, or 100% fans allowed at the stadium this year. So we already know that. And then there'll be much more special announcements. So make sure you guys mark that on your calendar about the June 30th state of the franchise. Let's get back to these comments. Let's see. Pale Time says he's doing well. Just finished work and relaxing. Cool, bro. I'm glad you can watch the stream, enjoy, and feel free to continue to comment, man. I appreciate it. Fast Sports Simulations. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. Appreciate you being a part of the stream. Looks like Isaac says, any games you are going to try and attend this season? Probably not, unfortunately. I wasn't planning on attending any games this year. I definitely want to, but not this year. Maybe I'll plan for something next year. But I plan on doing a lot of streaming the day of games. For instance, maybe like an hour prior to the Niner game on a Sunday. And also I want to stream an hour after 49er games. And that way I can converse with 49er fans in this similar fashion, how we're doing now. And if I went to a game, it wouldn't allow me to do that. So I want to, watch the game, from my home, take notes. And, I want to interact with you guys on game day. So Isaac, let me know if you are planning on attending any games this season. Let me know in the comments section. I appreciate you. Let's see. Damian Lee says, how do you feel about the number 2 tight end? Kittle plays reckless and Zach Ertz would help out, man. Great minds think alike, Damian. Great minds think alike. I love Kittle. I love the energy he brings. I love the physical nature in which he plays. Usually when Kittle catches a ball, the first guy who attempts to tackle him, usually they can't make the tackle. Either he's running someone over or he's making someone miss. I love the way Kittle plays, but like Damian said, he does play a little reckless. He has been hampered with injuries in the past. So the 49ers, I think they need to invest more in the tight end room. Ross Dwelly, he's solid. I wouldn't necessarily think of him as a playmaker or a difference maker at the tight end position. And Zach Ertz, from all the accounts I hear, he's available. I believe technically he's still on the Eagles roster. And I believe the Eagles, they want to try to get some draft capital or a player for him. They don't just want to outright cut him. But Zach Ertz would be a significant upgrade over Ross Dwelly. And then the space between Kittle and the next tight end wouldn't be as great if we bring in Zach Ertz. Like, I feel like there wouldn't be that much of a drop off if we bring Zach Ertz in from a receiving standpoint. No doubt, Kittle is an excellent blocker. He's one of the best blockers in the NFL. And I don't know about Ertz's blocking ability, but I know for sure as a receiver, he's one of the better tight ends in the NFL. He may not be, top 2, top 3 tight end like he used to, maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, but I believe he's still a top 10 receiver. He can definitely still make plays. And, he's a crafty veteran at the tight end position. I think the Niners need to, look at adding depth at that tight end position. I think so. And Zach Ertz would be excellent, I think, for that. It would be a 2 tight end set. Niners love to run that, and I think Zach Ertz would be perfect in that scheme. Nicho TV, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. Looks like Nicho says, yeah, with Ertz, that could be good. If anyone in the tight end spot gets injured, just hopes we're healthy so we don't have another disappointing season. Yeah. If Kittle goes down and we have Ertz, I think we'll be fine. And, obviously Kittle, his blocking ability is great, but what he brings to the receiver position, not many tight ends can do in the NFL. And Ross Dwelly, he's solid, but I believe there's a bit of a drop off comparing Kittle to Ross Dwelly. And Zach Ertz is definitely an upgrade in the receiving department from what we have after Kittle. And Kittle plays physical, gives 110%, and I love him for it. But since we know that, we need to have another tight end where there's not much of a drop off after, from Kittle. So, but I agree with you, man. I hope we stay healthy. Obviously football is a physical game. It's not about if you get hurt, it's almost when, so we just have to account for it. I think Lynch has done an excellent job this offseason. He's done an excellent job in providing depth among various positions on our team. And, I'm sure the 49ers are still looking at bringing in talent. I'm sure we're not done yet. Looks like Isaac V says, what would your plan be to recoup the Niners draft capital? That's an excellent question. I mean, the only way we can really recoup draft capital, we would have to trade some players. And, I don't know of any players off the top of my head. Let me think. Any players off the top of my head that we could trade for draft capital. Now I heard, maybe Mike McGlinchey, but it all depends on who. It's easy to trade McGlinchey, but who's going to be the person to replace McGlinchey, and will they be at his level or better, or how much drop off would be from Mike McGlinchey? I believe he's a player who's entering the last year of his contract. We just picked up Mike McGlinchey's 5th-year option. I believe it's about $10 million. But I'd be surprised. McGlinchey, this is a contract year for McGlinchey. He's looking to get a long-term contract extension, preferably. I'm sure he wants to get paid as a top 5 right tackle. And I don't know if the Niners would want to pay him or can afford to pay him, since we backed up the Brinks truck for the big silverback Trent Williams, I don't know if you want to pay 2 offensive tackles top 5 money. I don't know if you want to do that. If I was a GM, I wouldn't want to do that. So McGlinchey could be a trade option. Even if we could get like maybe a second or third round pick for him, maybe even first, that might be thinking about too much. But I think McGlinchey could be an option to trade. Raheem Mostert has been supposedly in trade talks, but I don't want to trade Raheem Mostert. Honestly, I feel like we need all the running backs we can get, Faithful. I mean, Jeff Wilson Jr. is already out. Do you really want to trade Raheem Mostert? I don't think so. I don't want to trade Raheem Mostert. We just have to limit his touches. And I'm glad that Lynch has brought on more running backs through the draft, through free agency to bolster up that running back room. And for another player for trades this year, I mean, Armstead is an option, but of course he's got a big salary cap hit. So trading Armstead wouldn't be a wise decision as far as a salary cap move, because I believe we would still owe, let's see, if we traded Armstead, we would owe, let's see. So yeah, Armstead has a dead cap hit of $16.5 million if we traded Armstead. So I don't envision the Niners doing that. I don't think that would be a wise move. So yeah, I think those would be the only players. I think McGlinchey would be an option, but then who's going to replace McGlinchey? So that would be my only question. But I think we should keep McGlinchey at least for this year, because I believe he's the best right tackle on the team right now. But that's an excellent question, Isaac. I appreciate your thoughts on that. But going past the 49ers' latest news about Jordan Willis suspended 6 games for PED use, and also the 49ers state of the franchise, I also wanted to discuss cornerback Stephon Gilmore. So, Faithful, for those that don't know, Stephon Gilmore, cornerback for the New England Patriots, he's in the final year of his contract. He's currently holding out a mini camp because, hey, he wants to get a new contract. He's 30 years old, and he's looking to, get the last big contract of his career. And I'm sure he wants to do that with the Patriots. But the Patriots are playing hardball with him. And normally Bill Belichick does not extend players who are 30 years and older, obviously besides TB12. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots would trade Stephon Gilmore for the right price. What do you guys think? Do you guys think we should look into getting cornerback Stephon Gilmore? Let me know in the comments section. Stephon Gilmore last year, 2020, he played in 11 games, but he also tore his quad. So that's why he didn't play the entire season. But 2018 and 2019 were all pro seasons for Stephon Gilmore. And Faithful, can you imagine pairing Stephon Gilmore and Jason Verrett? I mean, that would be an amazing tandem. And let's be real, Faithful. The Niners we play obviously in the NFC West. Seattle, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. The Rams, Cooper Kupp, Woods, Deshaun Jackson, and the Cardinals, AJ Green and DeAndre Hopkins. That's a lot of talent at the wide receiver position for the opposing team. So you can never have too many defensive playmakers. And, Stephon Gilmore would definitely elevate this defense. He's better than Richard Sherman. He's an upgrade over Emmanuel Mosley. I feel like the only downside, he does have a big cap hit for this year. I believe it's about $16 million. And he would be expecting to get a contract extension. That's what he wants. And it wouldn't be, 4 or 5 year extension. It'd probably be only 2 or 3 years since he's 30 years old. But I think, the Niners should definitely look into that. The biggest downside is his salary. He wants a contract extension. And then, of course, we have to give up draft capital. And the 49ers, we don't have much draft capital next year. I believe we have, what is it? We have, let's see, next year we have a 2nd round pick, a 3rd round pick, 1 4th round pick, a 5th round pick, and 3 7th round picks. So we don't have that high draft capital. And that's one of the reasons why we didn't go after Julio Jones. So it could be a long shot, but as a fan of the team, it's nice to think, well, what if? It's nice to pontificate. it's nice to wonder what could be if we were able to get, one of the best corners in the NFL. It's like Nicho says, Stephon Gilmore would be a great pickup if he decides to play good this year. Yeah, I mean, 2018, 2019, Nicho, he was all pro. He was awarded all pro by the NFL. 2020, he had a down year. He tore his quad. So I guess what Stephon Gilmore are you going to get? Damian Lee poses an interesting question. Eric Armstead for Gilmore. I think the salaries will probably work because I believe they're both salary cap hit this year is similar. I believe Gilmore is 16 and Armstead is also 16, I believe. Let me double check that. Yeah. Armstead has a cap hit of 16.5 this year, and Gilmore has a similar cap hit. So, the money would work, Damian, but I don't know if the Patriots would go for that. I don't know if they want Eric Armstead. Eric Armstead makes a lot of money as an edge rusher. And so far, I believe he hasn't lived up to that contract so far. So I don't know if the Patriots would want to, take on Eric Armstead's contract. Now, as a 49er fan, would I trade Armstead for Gilmore? Argument could be made. Armstead's in the prime of his career. And if you think he could get better, you probably wouldn't trade Gilmore, who's 30 years old. How many more years of all-pro Gilmore can you really expect? That'd be an interesting trade. If I were the Niners, I probably would do it. You get out from under Armstead's contract, and then you get Gilmore, who's in the last year of his contract. He's going to want to ball out. And then you could offer him a new contract. I mean, best case scenario, you would offer a new contract at the end of next season, but you may have to extend him to make him happy this year. And I think you would just front load the contract, give him some guaranteed money up front, and maybe do like a 2-year deal and you can get out of it next year. I think that would be an option. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. Trading Eric Armstead for Gilmore. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. You think the Niners should make that move? Nicho says, yeah, the cap hit would be tough, but we did hold our own last year with Verrett, but it would be very hard to do that this year. Yeah, I mean, Verrett, he had an incredible year. Out of Verrett's career, I believe he's only had maybe 2 or 3 seasons out of his career where he played double-digit games. So some would say this is a blip that Gilmore played every game and that he was, an all-pro player. He was basically an all-pro player. I don't think he was voted all-pro, but he definitely was the best corner on our team. And I believe he was definitely a pro bowler. He was definitely a pro bowler last year. So, expecting Verrett to stay healthy again this year and play at the same level he did last year, I don't know if that's asking too much, but I can't wait to see it come to fruition. So 49ers Z-Boy, what's good? How you doing, man? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. How you doing on a Thursday? Looks like Nicho says, I wouldn't trade Eric because he can do very good with good players around him. And that's what's happening this year when they're healthy. I hope you're right, Nicho. I hope you're right, Nicho. Because if you look at Armstead's first 4 years of his career, being drafted in the first round, they were underwhelming, his stats. In his contract year, he had Ford, he had Ford, Buckner, and Bosa around him, and Armstead was dominating. Now, was this because he was surrounded by great talent, or was this because he was in a contract year? I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens this year. But yeah, I hope you're right. I hope you're right, Nicho, about Eric Armstead. I hope you're right, because definitely going to be expecting a lot from him. Damian Lee says, Verrett and Gilmore with our front four, I'm making that trade. Yeah. Nah, I agree, David. Even if the Patriots didn't want Armstead, or let's say the Patriots would take a second-round pick for Gilmore, it would be hard not to make that trade. Because let's say we don't have to extend Gilmore. I mean, we can trade for Gilmore and see how he plays throughout the season. And then we could cut bait, at the end of next season if need be. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of wide receivers in the NFC West. Faithful. A lot of wide receivers in the NFC West. It's going to be a very, very tough division. Our defense will be, I feel like our defense will be as good as the pass rush. If we don't have a pass rush, I feel like the quarterbacks, they can eat up our defense. And with Verrett and Gilmore, that would be an amazing tandem for sure at the cornerback position to match up with the other receivers in the division. But we'll see. We'll see what Lynch does in the coming days. I appreciate you coming through, 49ers Z boy. Hopefully you're enjoying the stream. It's like Nicho says, yeah, it's tough to decide, because Eric is very valuable and so would Gilmore. Yeah, and the only thing with Armstead for me is, he plays the edge rushing position, right? He's being paid as probably a top 5, top 7 edge rusher, but I just feel like he doesn't get enough sacks. Nicho, let me know what you think. He just doesn't get enough sacks for me, Eric Armstead, at the edge rushing position. He should be getting as many sacks as Bosa, I feel. Or if Bosa gets about 12 to 14 sacks, Armstead should at least get 10. I don't think that's asking too much for Armstead to get double-digit sack seasons. But he's only done that once in his career. So, those are my thoughts on Armstead. Obviously, I'm rooting for him. Hopefully he has a bounce-back year. But, he's only had 1 year where he had double-digit sacks. And for the salary he's getting paid, I think that's what's expected. I don't think, I'm saying anything that, that Eric Armstead doesn't know, right? I'm sure he knows he's got to be stout against the run and he's got to get, sacks on the quarterback. So, but those are my thoughts on Eric Armstead. And, hopefully we'll see what happens with Gilmore. Who knows? Belichick could re-sign Gilmore, to a 1 or 2 year contract extension, make Gilmore happy. But I think, for the rest of the year prior to the season, the players that the 49ers could upgrade, or I should say the position the 49ers could upgrade significantly, I think it's the cornerback position. And Stephon Gilmore would definitely elevate the cornerback room. And also we could upgrade, the edge rushing position with Justin Houston. He's still out there. And now with Jordan Willis out for the first 6 games, suspended due to PED use, Justin Houston could fill in. So that's another move. I'm intrigued to see where Justin Houston lands, and I'm intrigued to see what happens with the Stephon Gilmore situation. It's like Nicho says, when we have a great pass rush, it's a lot easier for the secondary. They got the Super Bowl year, a lot of interceptions. No, I totally agree. I totally agree with that, Nicho. Secondary's best friend is the pass rush. That's for sure. With that pass rush, the players in the secondary, they don't have to cover as long. They could jump routes if necessary. I mean, I know we all say that Richard Sherman has lost a step, and he might not be able to play the cornerback position at a high level anymore. But Richard Sherman, he was playing pretty well during that Super Bowl year in the regular season. That was partly because of the pass rush. Sherman didn't have to cover that long. But Niner Empire, do you guys think our pass rush could be as good as 2019 or better? I mean, I don't know. Bosa's coming off that torn ACL. Hopefully, we ease Bosa in, to the snaps, the defensive snaps. Hopefully he's not playing 100% of the snaps from the jump. Armstead is still here. Kinlaw will have he'll be in his 2nd season, and he'll have a full regular offseason workload, mini camp, training camp, preseason. So Kinlaw should be significantly better. We don't have DeForest Buckner anymore, obviously. And what do we expect from D Ford at this point? So that might be asking a lot for the 49ers pass rush to be as good or better than the 2019 season, but we'll see what happens. Nicho also says, but with Gilmore, it's locked down, so I would probably go for Gilmore. Yeah. And I think that for this season, I would think that Gilmore at his position is better than Armstead at his position, I think. I mean, Gilmore was all pro 2018, 2019. Last year, he played 11 games, tore his quad. But I think Gilmore is better at his position than Armstead. 49ers first take. What's good? If you guys don't know, make sure you check out 49ers first take. Check out his YouTube. Does excellent 49er content. And I'm looking forward to your next stream, First Takes. Nicho TV says, I got to go, Jay. Good luck on the stream, baby. I appreciate you coming through, Nicho. Appreciate you conversing with me, man. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you on the next stream. 49ers First Take says, we need everyone we can get to bolster that pass rush. No stone left unturned. I totally agree with you, man. Especially with the news. I'm not sure if you heard, but Jordan Willis, the edge rusher, he's out for the first 6 games this year due to PED use. That's definitely one less player that we'll have on the roster that can, effectively be a pass rusher. And if we're looking at the depth chart at the edge rushing position, of course, you have Armstead, you got Bosa. Don't know what to expect from D Ford. You got Kentavious Street, and then you have Kevin Gibbons and Arden Key. So those are the edge rushers that are currently, healthy and available. Hopefully, week 1. But you can never have too many pass rushers. That's for sure. J Mouse, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. We just talking about, good old red and gold. Talking about Stephon Gilmore, and should the 49ers be interested in Stephon Gilmore? Let me know you guys' opinion in the comments section. I think that definitely the Niners should look into it because if you pair Verrett and Gilmore, that's definitely a nice 1-2 punch at that cornerback position. And you can never have too many defensive playmakers. So 49ers First Take says, I literally just finished uploading my video about it. LOL, took way too long. Yeah, I mean, I was surprised, obviously, by it. I believe the news came out about Jordan Willis maybe like at 3 o'clock, I think. And, an hour before my show. And, definitely was surprising and it's very unfortunate because that's one less player that we'll have. And I didn't think he would be starting. I didn't think Jordan Willis would have significant stats, but that's another edge rusher. I mean, and who knows if D Ford's going to be healthy week 1, and who knows for how long, and who knows about Bosa. Bosa's not going to play 100% of snaps. I'd be surprised by that. So that's one less edge rusher that we'll have at our disposal. So I appreciate you coming through First Takes. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about Stephon Gilmore. Also, I'm sure you guys saw the thumbnail, faithful. So I wanted to talk about the top 5 49er players who need to have a breakout season. And if you guys could, if you see the ticker, let me know in the comment section who are the top 5 49er players who need to have a breakout season this year. And I believe this season is a make or break year for a lot of 49er players, including the guy who touches the ball on every single snap. Y'all know it, faithful, the QB, Jimmy G. It's definitely, a make or break year for Jimmy. There's also a lot of 1-year contracts on this team. Players are, want to ball out. They're looking for that next big contract. So this is a huge year for the 49ers. Kyle Shanahan is a huge year for. He's only had 1 winning season with the 49ers. So, a lot is riding on this season. And let's continue with the comments, and then we'll go into my number 5 player who I think needs to have a breakout season. But let's continue with these comments first. Let's see. 49ers First Take says, depth is depth. More bodies, the better. And yeah, Gilmore if you can. I totally agree. Gilmore at the cornerback spot. Justin Houston, edge rusher. I'm all down for it. Jay says, Jimmy Jesus. But let's start off with the number 5 player who I feel needs to have a breakout season. And we've already been talking about him. Of course, it's Arik Armstead. Eric Armstead, first round pick out of Oregon, I believe in 2016. And the first 4 years of his career definitely were underwhelming for a first round pick. In the 5th year of his contract, he balled out. He earned his lucrative contract extension. Unfortunately, that meant that we had to let go of DeForest Buckner. But, Eric Armstead needs to establish himself as one of the top edge rushers in the NFL. For the amount of money he's getting paid, Armstead, there's no reason why we can't expect you to have a double-digit sack season. If we're expecting Bosa to have double-digit sacks, I don't think there's anything wrong with expecting Eric Armstead to have a double-digit sack season. Obviously, Armstead is excellent against the run, and I believe Armstead is better inside. I don't know how you guys feel, but I think Armstead is better at the defensive tackle spot. Lined up next to Kinlaw. It seems like an edge rusher. He just doesn't have that burst. I just feel like he's not as talented on the defensive end position. But Armstead, prove me wrong, man. I'm definitely looking forward to the season. I want to see you succeed, Armstead. But yeah, I think Armstead should definitely have a double-digit sack season. And if you're just tuning in, I'm talking about the 5 49er players who need to have a breakout year. And I'm just getting started with number 5. And let me know your guys' list for the top 5 49er players who need to have a breakout season. Looks like 49ers First Take says Bosa, Kinlaw, Jimmy, Devo, and Armstead. That's a very good list, First Take. I have a few players on that list for sure. But yeah, those are definitely some players who definitely need to step up. And a lot is expected of those players. Let's see. Jay says Eric Armstead has to be back to his 10-sack form. No, I agree, man. I don't want 2019 to be a blip where he balled out in a contract year. And, he had double-digit sacks. And in the following year, I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was due to COVID or what, but he had unfortunately an underperforming year. I mean, I would have expected last year that Armstead would have led the 49ers in sacks, but it was Kerry Hyder, faithful. Kerry Hyder led the team in sacks with 8 sacks. So, a lot is expected of Eric Armstead, that's for sure. And I agree with you, Jay. Got to get back to his 10-sack form. Let's see, 49ers First Take says, too tall for the edge, bad pad level. Exactly. This game is won and lost in the trenches. Usually it's the low man wins. And I believe Armstead is like 6'6". So, it's kind of hard for him to get low and get around an offensive tackle. But he's an excellent athlete, but I think he's better suited to be at the inside next to Kinlaw at the defensive tackle spot. But yeah, I agree with you, First Takes. And it looks like Jay says Bosa will be fine. Kinlaw is young and he will grow. No, I agree. All our rookies last year did not have a regular off season due to COVID. And the rookies benefit not only from practicing with guys who are at the NFL level, and they're under the regimen of an NFL training program. They're getting used to the speed of the NFL. The rookies were at a significant disadvantage last year, and Kinlaw this year I believe he'll have a even better season than last year. And I can't wait to see him, throughout the rest of training camp develop and grow and in preseason and the regular season. Looks like Jay says, why did Kerry Hyder have to go to the sea poop the sea chickens? Man, Kerry Hyder was like, I'm about to cash in, Jay. Kerry Hyder was like, man, I'm trying to get that check. You know what I'm saying? I don't blame Kerry. Maybe the Seahawks offered Kerry the most money. I don't know. I don't even know if the 49ers offered Kerry Hyder a contract. I'm not sure. Based off of Kerry Hyder's season, he had 8 sacks. He balled out, had a career year. I don't know if I was the Niners. I don't know if I'd want to offer him a long-term contract like the Seahawks did. I mean, it was only 3 years. But I would probably have been more comfortable with a 1-year deal to see if he can have the same results this year. But, who knows what other teams offered Kerry Hyder money. But, I mean, Kerry Hyder, I don't blame him, man. He took the money, even though it was with the Seahawks. And I can't wait to go up against the Seahawks this year because, Kerry Hyder's going to be there, of course. Kello Witherspoon will be there. And I think the Seahawks D-line has been improved with Hyder, Dunlap. So, the 49ers offensive line will definitely be tested against the Seahawks defensive front for sure. And, Kerry Hyder, he got his money. I can't be mad at that. He balled out and he parlayed that into a contract extension with the Seahawks. I can't be mad at that. But it's like, yeah, I feel you. Why the Seahawks, though? But, they offered him the money. So, I can't blame Kerry. 49ers First Take says, I think Armstead was a product of things around him in 19. D Ford, Buck, Bosa freed him up. Now, I definitely agree with that because if you look at his first 4 seasons, they were underwhelming. And he wasn't really living up to that first round draft selection. And as you said, in 19, he had studs around him. He was also in the contract year. So he definitely had all the motivation in the world to ball out, to get that generational wealth. And I'm glad he got it. I just want to see him continue to succeed. I just want to continue to see him ball out, have that double-digit sack season, be stout against the run. And, yeah, so hopefully we'll see what happens this year, First Takes. We'll see what happens. Osby Sports, what's good? Thanks for tuning in, Osby. I see what you're doing, Osby. Osby putting out that content. I see what you're doing, man. You're doing good. I think you got like 700 subscribers, man. You about to pass me up, Osby. But yeah, I appreciate. If you guys don't know, check out Osby Sports. Excellent YouTuber. Talks about the NBA. Talks about the NFL, and of course his favorite team is the Niners. So yeah, check out Osby Sports. Excellent content creator. You doing big things, Osby. I see you, man. I appreciate your content every day. So I appreciate you. 49ers First Take says, don't forget DJ Reed. Go DJ. That's my DJ. Go DJ. Yeah, I can't forget DJ Reed. Or no, is it DJ Reed or are you talking about DJ Jones? If you're talking about the defensive line, I believe you're talking about DJ Jones. I think you're talking about the cornerback, DJ Reed with the Seahawks. I think he used to be on the Niners. And the Niners cut DJ Reed, and then the Seahawks, I believe, picked him up off waivers. I think you might be talking about that DJ Reed. So, yeah, there's a few former 49ers who signed on with the Seahawks. The Seahawks getting our sloppy seconds, but I think part of it is they've seen these guys up close. Our teams in the NFC West, the Cardinals, the Rams, and Seahawks, they obviously look at our games. They look to see, how they can exploit, the defense, how they can exploit the offense. So they're constantly looking at the same guys, so they already know what to expect. From those guys on our team because they see them all the time. So I think that's another part of the reason. Let's see. Jay says Eric Armstead played in 2019 as a defensive tackle. I think that's why he had a 10-sack season in 2019. He's so good at defensive tackle, not defensive end. No, I totally agree. He should definitely be lined up beside Kinlaw at that defensive tackle spot. So let's see. Let's see how this will play out. If we had, Kinlaw and Armstead up the middle at the defensive tackle spot, and on the two ends you had, Bosa with Arden Key backing him up. Then you had, Samson Bukum at that other edge rushing spot, also with D Ford, and then you had Kentavious Street, Jordan Willis. I think that's a better front. I think Armstead. I think hopefully, and I wish I could ask D'Amico Ryans, our defensive coordinator, this question. Where is he going to play Armstead? Is Armstead going to be moved all around the defensive line? Is he only going to play defensive end? Will they play him more at defensive tackle? Because there's no doubt that we thrived. The defensive line thrived when Armstead was playing inside instead of outside. So I wish I could ask that question to D'Amico Ryans, but that's an astute point, Jay. Very astute point. Jay says, "Why did we cut DJ Reed?" I'm not even sure. I'm not sure. Maybe someone in the chat can look that up. Why we cut DJ Reed? It could have been to maybe bring on another player, or I don't know if he was hurt. I don't know, but yeah, someone in the chat, let us know. Let's see. Jay says Kyle should have not done that. Done what? Let me know in the comments. Jay says Kyle should not have done that. Let me know what you're referring to. 49ers First Take says, get that paper, save that chicken, like Lynch said. Yeah. I mean, that's very true, man. That's very true. These guys have a short shelf life in the NFL. The average NFL career is only 3 years. So if you have an option to get that long-term contract extension, then yeah, man, you got to do it. I don't blame the players at all. So if you're just tuning in, we're talking about the top 5 49er players who need to have a breakout season. Make sure you guys leave your list of top 5 players, top 5 49er players who need to have a breakout season. If you haven't already put your list in the comment section, go ahead and do that. I started off my list with number 5 with Eric Armstead. I believe he needs to have a double-digit sack season. He definitely needs to step up. And my number 4 is Mike McGlinchey. I know everyone loves Mike McGlinchey. Hey, but no doubt. McGlinchey, his first few seasons when Joe Staley was here, McGlinchey, he wasn't all pro, but he was an anchor at that right tackle spot. He was definitely a good, solid player at that right tackle spot when Joe Staley was here. Joe Staley retired, and McGlinchey lost weight. I don't know why, but McGlinchey definitely looks heavier in the offseason. I've seen pictures, but McGlinchey definitely needs to be an anchor at the right tackle spot. This is a contract year for Mike McGlinchey. He's got every reason to play above and beyond what he did last year. And in the running game, no doubt, McGlinchey is a beast. In the past game last year, he had some bad moments on tape, and he even admitted that in the offseason. He's like, yeah, there were some bad moments on tape for Mike McGlinchey. And he's looking for that next long-term contract extension. I would be surprised if it's with the Niners if he wants to get paid like a top 5 right tackle. But hey, we'll definitely be your springboard to ball out this year and get your long-term contract extension. Even if it's with another team. So Mike McGlinchey is number 4 on my top 5 49er players who need to have a breakout season. And it looks like 49ers First Take says, yeah, I think you're talking about DJ Reed, the cornerback with the Seahawks. And JB&M Sports Fanatic, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. I see you continue to do big things on your channel. I see you doing your live streams now with the NBA games, and that's definitely cool. That's good. You're branching out. You're doing live streams. That's definitely where it's at. You continue to converse with the people. You're doing big things on your YouTube channel. Make sure everyone check this guy out, JB&M Sports Fanatic. He gives all, I would say he particularly talks about the NFL and NBA news, and check his channel out. Puts out a lot of content, and he's very knowledgeable and great streams as well. So appreciate you coming through, JB. He says, what's good? JB says, late to the party, but want to see the 49ers produce 2 1,000-yard wide receivers and watch the offense go to even higher levels. I feel you. And I think those 2 wide receivers could definitely be the Ayuk show. Brandon Ayuk and, of course, Deebo Samuel. Make sure you tuck your chain. If those 2 receivers can stay healthy this year, I think, they could at least have 800 receiving yards each. I think so. Because I think Kittle will be the leading receiver this year. But the more the merrier. And, I'm excited to see what comes this season. Jay says, now let's get a Seahawks player to come to the red and gold. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Have there been any Notable Seahawk players that have come from Seattle to the Niners. I'm not sure. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head. Yeah, I don't know of any Seahawks player who was been with the Seahawks and then went to the Niners. I can't think of any player. Unfortunately, nothing's coming to mind. Star Scream Sub-Zero, what's good? Thanks for coming through to the stream. And for everyone who's just coming in, I'm doing a top 5 list of 49er players who need to have a breakout year. So if you can, leave your list of your top 5 49er players who need to have a breakout season. And I appreciate everyone hitting that thumbs up button. Shout out to everyone watching on that good old Spotlight Sports Network. And leave your list in the comment section of the top 5 49er players who need to have a breakout season. And my number 5 was Eric Armstead. My number 4 was Mike McGlinchey. And we'll get into my number 3 very shortly. But I'm going to continue with these comments. Got to continue talking to the faithful, the Niner Empire. And, of course, all NFL fans are welcome. So let's continue with these comments. Let's see. 49ers Ultimate Report. What's good? Another excellent YouTube content creator. Check him out. Excellent Niner content. 49ers Ultimate Report says, Jay in the Bay, sorry I'm late. It's all good, man. I appreciate you coming through. He says he was at a meeting with his boss because I'm going back to work. Just found out Jordan Willis is suspended. Yeah, man, that's good to hear you going back to work, man. It's always good to get that consistent check. And yeah, for those that don't know, Jordan Willis, our edge rusher, we acquired last year, and I believe in a trade with Cincinnati. Unfortunately, he got suspended 6 games this year for PEDU, so he won't be available for the first 6 games of this year. Jordan Willis, he'll still be able to work out with the team, but unfortunately, he will not be able to play the first 6 games of the season. I don't think anyone was expecting Jordan Willis to be a starter, but he could be a rotational edge rusher, but that's very unfortunate about 49ers Ultimate Report. And as I said before, we welcome all fans. Delect Shrub, what's good? He talks about that good old silver and black. Good luck to your Raiders this year out in Vegas. And I can't wait. I cannot wait until my Niners go up to Vegas to play in that beautiful palace y'all have up in Vegas. I've seen it up close. I've seen it up in person. It was beautiful right off the strip. And I can't wait till the Niners play the Raiders in Vegas. I'm definitely going to that game. I have to go, faithful. I gotta save my pennies now for that game when we go to Vegas to play them good old Raiders. But yeah, good luck to your Raiders this year, man. Losby Sports says, thanks for the promo. No problem, man. You deserve it, man. Your channel is leveling up, man. So it's good to see. Let's see. Jay says, oh boy, we have a Raiders fan in the chat. Yeah, man. I welcome all fans, man. As long as we keep it respectful, we keep it on the gridiron. Everyone's welcome, man. And Delect Shrub says, yes, sir. Let's see. Harden 54 says Richard Sherman. So are you talking about players that need to have a breakout season? Because as it stands right now, Richard Sherman, he's not on the squad. Richard Sherman is still a free agent. So, let me know. Let me know if you're talking about players that need to have a breakout year. But yeah, for Sherman's career, that's for sure. Yeah, he definitely needs to have a breakout year. That's for sure. So going back to my top 5 49er players who need to have a breakout season, number 3 is Javon Kinlaw. Javon Kinlaw he got big shoes to fill. We drafted Kinlaw to replace DeForest Buckner because we traded Buckner to the Colts. And unfortunately, Kinlaw, he's going to be, compared to DeForest Buckner, at least for his 49er career. Kinlaw, I believe he had a solid year last year. He was definitely at a disadvantage because he did not have a regular, he didn't have any preseason games, no training camp. He didn't have a regular, NFL offseason program. So this year. He's got a regular offseason program so far. He's been in mini camps. Everyone's saying good things about him. The training camp will be in July. And then also, of course, he'll be in preseason. So big things are expected for Javon Kinlaw. And I want Kinlaw to, take on double teams. I'm expecting him to get some sacks this year, and be a force in the running game and stopping the run. So that's my number 3 49er players who need to have a breakout season. Javon Kinlaw. Let's get back to these comments. Let's see. So Damian Lee also says Richard Sherman. Okay. So, yeah, if we're talking about general NFL players, then, yeah, Richard Sherman definitely needs to have a breakout year to, I would say, revive his career. I mean, it's no doubt. Richard Sherman, Hall of Fame player. He'd been battling injuries the last few seasons. He had the calf injury. Then he had the Achilles, then the calf injury. So, yeah, definitely Richard Sherman. I'm eager to see where he'll end up and if he'll play the cornerback position. So, it's like Delect Shrub says Raiders. Okay. Jay says Raiders fans think now that they signed Solomon Thomas, they're going to win the Super Bowl. Well, Solomon Thomas, unfortunately, that was a mistake. Lynch's first 2 picks of the 2017 NFL draft, unfortunately, they didn't pan out. Solomon Thomas was definitely, overdrafted. Reuben Foster didn't work out. He was overdrafted as well. So that, I wish the best for Solomon. I know he dealt with, family tragedy, I believe, in the first or second year of his career with the Niners. So, I definitely, wish the best for Solomon. Hopefully he succeeds with the good old silver and black, the Las Vegas Raiders. But yeah, I just wish the best for Solomon, and unfortunately, it just didn't work out with the Niners. Just like Deluxe says, we never said we were going to win the Super Bowl. Deluxe, what do you think your record will be? Let me know in the comments section. Let me know and let everyone else know. What do you think the Raiders' record will be this year? Matt Navarro, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. And for those that just came through, I'm talking about my top 4 49er players who need to have a breakout season. Number 5 was Armstead. Number 4 was McGlinchey. And number 3 is Javon Kinlaw. And we will be talking about my number 2 real soon. 49ers, Lakers for life. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. And if you haven't already, put in your top 5 49er players who need to have a breakout year in the comments section. That's cow. We went from Matt Navarro writes, we went from injuries to players getting suspended. Oh, man. What else is going to happen, Matt? I mean, dang. I don't know. What else can happen? But you're right. We got injured players. Now we got players getting suspended. Well, you can't blame this on Shanahan. I know that. You can't blame Shanahan for players getting suspended. So, yeah, that's up to the players. So they know what they put in their body. Let's see. Jay responding to at Deluxe Shrub. Oh, okay, but good luck to your team this year. Exactly. Good luck to the Raiders. Damian Lee. Oh, yeah, duh. The most obvious. I don't know why I couldn't think of Richard Sherman, but yeah. I just had a brain fart. Yeah, for some reason, I don't know why. For some reason, Richard Sherman, I didn't think of him coming from Seattle. That just seems so long ago. That seems so long ago that Richard Sherman was with the Seahawks. But yeah, and Damian is saying that, and I believe Harden 54 was saying that as well. That I was trying to see which Seattle Seahawks players played there and then went to the Niners. Because it seems like a lot of 49er players in recent memory have gone from the 49ers to the Seahawks. And Richard Sherman obviously came from Seattle to the Niners. So besides Richard Sherman, I don't know of any other Seahawk that came from Seattle and went to the Niners. So, but thank you for letting me know. And Hard 54 says as well, Sherman from the Seahawks to the Niners. I don't know. How can I not think of the most obvious person? I don't know. I'm tripping. Let's see. Osby Sports says he thinks Brandon Ayuk will have a breakout season. Yeah, I mean, Brandon Ayuk balled out last year. I believe he had, I want to say like 60 catches, 6 touchdowns, over like 700 receiving yards. So yeah, I think definitely Brandon can definitely build on that. And I'm looking forward to what Ayuk can do playing a full season and also having Jimmy G as his quarterback. Best case scenario is Jimmy G plays, all 17 games. And our receivers, the offensive line, the running backs will all benefit from continuity at the quarterback position. And if Jimmy G plays all 17 games, I believe that's going to be a successful season for the 49ers. We'll definitely have a winning record. We'll be in the playoff hunt and possibly winning the division if Jimmy G plays all 17 games. Big Chunges, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. The first time I've seen you on the channel. I appreciate you hit that thumbs up button, and thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoy. Just like he says, I heard Gilmore might come to the Cardinals. Yeah, I mean, the Cardinals could use another corner. They did not re-sign Pat Peterson, their longtime corner. So yeah, that could be an option for the Cardinals. And another thing to remember, of course, Gilmore would be excellent on the 49ers, but also we have to think about, okay, well, what if another team gets Gilmore? Then that's another player that we'll have to, compete against. So that's another thing to think of, but I appreciate your comment. See, Big Chun just says, how long till the NFL season starts? Well, the preseason games start, I believe, the second week of August, and then the first games will be in September. So we got about 2.5. What, we're in June? Yeah, we got about 2 months until the preseason games start. And I've never been excited for preseason games up until this year because the 49ers have an influx, an infusion of young talent. From the running back room, the secondary, the depth among the defensive line, the offensive line. So I'm intrigued to see what our new rookies bring to the table. And I can't wait to see them in preseason and in training camp. Just like Jay says at Big Chunges, where did you hear it? Yeah, I think there was an article that said possible teams that could try to trade for Gilmore, and I think the Cardinals were there. I think the Rams also too. I don't know how they could afford Gilmore, but who knows? Matt Navarro says, I heard about that too. DeAndre Hopkins finna recruit him. That's funny. Yeah. Players now are recruiting other players, because, I mean, the odds of Belichick re-signing Gilmore, I think, I don't know. I'll be surprised by that. But so I wouldn't be surprised if Gilmore is traded for sure. And hopefully the Niners can at least be in the discussion. David Renteria, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. He says, bruh, haven't heard he doesn't want to be a Patriots. He want out of there or he get a new contract. Yeah, so, in recent history, when players miss mandatory training camp, that's a big deal. That is headline news. Now, OTAs, that's optional. That's voluntary. You don't get fined for missing voluntary workouts. But when a player misses mandatory training camp, mandatory mini camp, the team has an option to fine that player significant amount of money. And, players, they work hard for their money. They definitely don't want to lose their money. So when a player misses mandatory camp, that raises eyebrows. And usually if a player misses mandatory mini camp, it's usually because they want a new contract. And a lot of times you'll see this in a player who's in the last year of his contract. He wants to try to, use some of his, he wants to try to basically negotiate to get a lucrative contract extension for years to come. So that's why Gilmore is not there. Gilmore is not there because he wants to make a stand. I'm not saying he doesn't want to be a Patriots player anymore. I'm just saying he wants to get a new contract. And Bill Belichick has shown in the past that he does not extend contracts to players who are over 30, excluding TB12. Going back to, Lawyer Malloy, Chandler Jones, there's been a lot of players who have been in the last year of their contract. And, Bill Belichick will just trade a player. He'll trade a player a year early rather than a year late. That's what Bill Belichick's past has showed. So I'm not saying Gilmore does not want to be a Patriot, but I know for sure he wants to get a new contract, and we'll see how this plays out. I'd be surprised if Belichick extends Gilmore, but you never know. We'll see what happens. But this is definitely something interesting for the Niners, because the Niners could definitely, could you imagine Gilmore and Verrett? That would be amazing to see. So, it's fun to talk about, but we'll see how this plays out. Legendary HVAC, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. The first time I seen you on here. Hopefully you're enjoying the show. Legendary says, off topic, but we need Jimmy to play good so we can get a decent draft pick or player. My thoughts exactly, Legendary. If Jimmy G balls out, if Jimmy G's able to stay healthy all 17 games, he gets the Niners to the playoffs, then I think there would definitely be a few teams that would want to trade for Jimmy G. A few teams I've talked about before, Washington probably be interested. They're the first team that comes to mind because they don't have a franchise quarterback. And I know there are other teams that could be. There's always going to be teams every year that's going to be looking for their next franchise quarterback. And if Jimmy G proves that he can ball out this year and stay healthy, there will be teams vying for his services in the offseason. The Niners can get back some draft capital, even if it's for a second-round pick. Of course, I would love to get a first-round pick for Jimmy, but, that may not happen. But a second or third-round pick for Jimmy would go a long way, and Jimmy would be on a new team. He could sign a new contract, and then we'll start off the Trey Lance era. So I agree with you, Legendary, though. We need Jimmy G to ball out and stay healthy the whole year. David says Jalen Ramsey trying to recruit him. Yep. That's right. Damian Lee says, okay. And Damian Lee is responding to my list of the top 5 49er players who need to have a breakout season. And Damian Lee says Jimmy Ward needs to step up. Okay. Jimmy Ward, Jaquiski Tart, they're pretty good safety combination. I'll probably say they're probably the best in the NFC West. Jimmy Ward, I thought he had a pretty good year last year. But yeah, he can definitely get better. That's for sure. Now going back to my list. So number 2. So my number 2 player, my number 2 49er player who needs to have a breakout season is none other than the man from South Carolina, Debo. So Debo Samuel, obviously he broke into the NFL and had a great year. As a first-round draft pick. When was the last time the Niners drafted wide receivers in the first round that actually panned out besides Debo and the IQ show? Before those 2 receivers, basically before John Lynch, we hadn't drafted a wide receiver in the first round in a while who actually panned out. The last receiver I can remember was probably Michael Crabtree. He was a first-round pick out of Texas Tech, I think it was either 2005 or 2006. Michael Crabtree was probably the last wide receiver who panned out that we drafted in the first round. We hadn't had luck in drafting first-round wide receivers. But, Debo Samuel is definitely a player who needs to have a bounce-back year. No doubt, his rookie season was off the charts. His second year, he had that foot injury. I believe it was in August of last year or July. So, obviously, when he came back, he was rushing to get back. And unfortunately, when you rush to get back, you're not completely healed. Sometimes you overcompensate other parts of your body for your foot or for whatever injury you had. And that's exactly what happened. He had the hamstring injuries. But Debo has looked good so far. And, in this year's mini camp. And I'm just hoping Debo gets back to that rookie year form, be a playmaker for Jimmy G on the outside. And I think, Debo, Ayuk, and Kittle are pretty good three tandem receiving unit. And, a lot is riding on Deebo Samuel. I think he will definitely help Jimmy G out in the passing game. So, yeah, I'm hoping the best for Deebo. Hopefully he can come back healthy and he'll be a target for Jimmy G. Let's see. Deluxe Shrub, in regards to his silver and black, says he predicted 10-7, but it depends on what Carr and that defense does this year. Yeah, I think, the Raiders' issue has been the defense for sure. Carr is definitely not the problem. Carr's a good quarterback. It's just been that defense that's, needs to step up for sure. So Legendary Havoc or Legendary HVAC says number 1 is Trey Sermon. Okay, so you feel Trey Sermon needs to step up. Well, he is a rookie. We haven't really seen him in the NFL. But yeah, I think Trey Sermon, what I'll say about Trey Sermon is he will have, I think he'll have a big role in the running game, especially if Mostert can't stay healthy. I think Trey Sermon could be the next running back up. And we know Shanahan. Shanahan doesn't like to use a bell cow running back. The Niners do not have a Derrick Henry type running back on the squad. I believe Shanahan would use, at least 3 to 4 running backs on game day. So I think that could be Mostert, Gallman, Trey Sermon, either between Jermichael Hasty and Elijah Mitchell. So the Trey Sermon, I believe he could make an impact on offense this year for sure. And David says Seahawks sign players from the NFC West. They do very often. Let's see. Matt says Cardinals still going back to their old ways, signing players past their prime. I'm intrigued by AJ Green. I think I'm more intrigued by AJ Green and JJ Watt. I think JJ Watt, he's still a solid, defensive tackle. He might get 6 to 8 sacks, this year. He'll definitely present problems for the 49ers, on the interior of our offensive line. But AJ Green, what does he have left in the tank? AJ Green, when I think of him, obviously when he was with the Cincinnati Bengals and he was that number 1 wide receiver. But he hasn't been the number 1, at least he wasn't, for the last 1 or 2 years due to injuries. And AJ Green will have, a new team, new scenery. Is he healthy? And he won't be, he won't be competing against a number 1 corner anymore. In Cincinnati, when he was the number 1 wide receiver, he would always go up against that other team's best corner. So, but now he's with DeAndre Hopkins, and DeAndre Hopkins will definitely be getting that number 1 corner matchup. So how will AJ Green be able to compete against a number 2 corner? And who knows, maybe AJ Green will have a significant advantage over that number 2 corner. But I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens. AJ Green, I think he still could play if he's healthy. So let's see, legendaries lists. And the list we're talking about, for those that are just tuning in, is the top 5 49ers who need to have a breakout season. And so legendaries, first, number 1 was Trey Sermon. Number 2 is Bosa. Number 3 is Ayuk. Number 4, Sermon. So it looks like you listed Sermon twice. So who do you think is on the list as well? Because you have Sermon, Bosa, Ayuk, and Warner. So who's your number 5? Let me know in the comments section. But I appreciate you providing your list. So yeah, that's an excellent list. I think Fred Warner, he's an all-pro player. I think he's one of the, if not the best linebacker in the NFL, he's top 2. So I think Fred Warner, we know what to expect from Fred, and he had an excellent year last year. Let's see. Jay says, which NBA team are you a fan of? I'm a Warriors fan. I don't really follow the NBA that much. I used to follow the NBA a lot more, but I've been locked and loaded with my Niners with the red and gold. I definitely like to watch the NBA, but I've been focused more on the 49ers, and I don't have a favorite team. But no doubt, I respect LeBron James for what he does on and off the court. But I would say I'm more focused on the 49ers and the NFL. 49er Faithful, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. 49er Faithful says, Jay, do you remember when Fred Warner used to wear number 48? It seems so weird now. Yeah, Yeah. It does seem weird now. He looked weird in that jersey, and he looks much better now. And let's see. Jay says Fred Warner, number 54 jersey is fire. The number 48 jersey is bad. Fred Warner with number 54. Yeah, I wonder why he first came in the league with number 48. Maybe I wonder, was 54 not available? I don't know. I don't know who wore 54 before Fred. Oh, looks like we may have an answer. Matt Navarro says, yeah, and I believe 54 was Cassius Marsh. Okay, yeah, I remember him. So Cassius Marsh is a player. I know he was with the Seahawks and he went to the Niners. I think he was with the Seahawks first and then he came to the Niners. So that's another player who was with the Seahawks first and then they went to the Niners. So basically it's Cassius Marsh and Richard Sherman. 49er Faithful says, yeah, 54 is way better. I agree. Damian Lee says we must sign Gilmore. For those that weren't in the stream earlier, I was talking about Stephon Gilmore, the corner for the Patriots. And do you guys think we should try to acquire Stephon Gilmore and pair him up with Jason Verrett? Let me know in the comment section. That definitely would be ideal. That would be an upgrade for our secondary. And we're going to need all the guys we can get going up against the players I mentioned earlier in our own division, the wide receivers. So that what do you guys think about that? Let me know. David says, sign, y'all have to trade him. If you're talking about Gilmore, yeah, we would have to trade for Gilmore. I'd be surprised if the Patriots cut him. Looks like David says Gilmore will probably go for a second. Yep. And we do have a second round pick, but who knows if the Niners want to give up that draft capital, because next year we don't have a first round pick. We only have a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth, and then 3 7s. So we don't have a first round pick, and we don't have that many high draft picks. So that would be something to consider. Damian Lee says Gilmore's situation reminds me of the Ezekiel Elliott in Dallas years ago. Yep. Zeke the freak. Yeah, he held out, and he got his money from the Cowboys. So it happens. There's always a player every year. I remember. Le'Veon Bell. You guys remember Le'Veon Bell? He sat out the whole year, which was crazy, because obviously he got paid by the Jets, but he probably should have stayed in Pittsburgh. Matt Navarro says, what about Sherman and Gilmore on the quad? 2 old geezers past their prime. Well, I would say that Sherman is definitely past his prime, especially with the injuries he's had with the calf injury and the Achilles. The Achilles injuries is probably one of the worst injuries you can have as an athlete, opposed to like having like a hip injury or a back injury. But the Achilles injury is very tough on an athlete's body to recover from. And, so I definitely think Sherman has lost a step or two. Now, Gilmore was all pro in 2018 and 2019. So Gilmore has still been a productive player. Last year, he had that torn quad, so he missed 5 games out of 16. But I would definitely still be interested in Gilmore. Let's see. David says Washington has a good quarterback. I forgot his name, but he played in the playoffs and popped off. Yeah, I think you're talking about, I think it's Taylor Heineke, and they got Fitzmagic. But yeah, Heineke definitely looked good, but we'll see how he plays this year, if he'll even win the starting position over Fitzmagic. But yeah, he had a good few games, Heineke, but there's no way he's established. He hasn't won consecutive games. He hasn't led a team to the playoffs. He hasn't played really in big moments as much as Jimmy G has, I would say. So, I would say Washington will probably still be in the market next year for a franchise quarterback, especially if Heineke can't win the job over Fitzmagic. And it looks like Matt says, yeah, that's Taylor Heineke. He is competing with Fitzmagic for that starting quarterback job. And David says, yep, him. And let's see, JB says, add Ty Law, Asante Samuels, Vince Wilfork, etc. to the list of guys that Bill just lets walk due to contract issues, but he's forced to spend more now. So let's see. No, JB, that's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up. I also thought of Lawyer Malloy, Chandler Jones, and there's been countless other players who they're in the last year of their contract. They're closer to age 30, and Bill Belichick just lets them walk. It seems like Bill Belichick's philosophy is to, get rid of a player a year earlier than a year later. And Bill Belichick loves to build his team through the draft. So that's why I'd be surprised if Gilmore goes back to the Patriots on a lucrative contract extension. I would be surprised. So we'll see. And I appreciate your thoughts, JB. See, Damian Lee says, Jimmy Ward, health always a concern for me. He's a great talent. Yeah. Jimmy Ward, he's definitely a great talent. And let's look at Jimmy Ward's history as far as him playing games. I know he definitely battled injuries earlier in his career. And if you guys can believe it, Jimmy Ward is the longest tenured 49er on the team. Jimmy Ward was drafted by the Niners in 2014. There was an issue. Should they play Jimmy at safety? Should they play him at corner? It seemed like he's definitely much better at the safety position. Jimmy Ward is. But looking at his game log, in 2020, he played 14 games. 2019, Jimmy Ward played 13 games. And then between 2018 and 2014, he didn't play that many games. He had like 4 single-digit games played years between the years of 2018 and 2014. So he definitely battled injuries earlier on in his career. But it seems like, he hit his stride. He's 29 years old. Obviously, he knows how to take care of his body. He knows how to train. So hopefully we can have another 14, 15 games played this year for Jimmy Ward. I think the 49ers will definitely be in great hands. Let's see. David says, I like the Raiders because they gave us Rodney Hudson. Yeah, I mean, Rodney Hudson, I believe he was traded to, I think it was it the Chiefs? I think Rodney Hudson. Yeah, I think Rodney Hudson was traded to the Chiefs, I believe. So yeah, Raiders were definitely shedding salary in that move. But yeah, I think Rodney Hudson was traded to the Chiefs. I think. Let me know if I'm wrong. I think so. Let me double check that. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Rodney Hudson. So yeah. Oh, sorry. No, Rodney Hudson was traded to the Arizona Cardinals. My bad. So that's definitely a big move for the Cardinals because Rodney Hudson, he's definitely an excellent center. But yeah, Rodney Hudson was traded to the Arizona Cardinals. So good move by the Cardinals. Damian says, with Big Ben maybe quitting next year, what about getting Juju? His contract ends this year. Yeah, Juju, I mean, when he was first drafted and AB was the number 1 receiver there, Juju was going off. Juju was excellent in that number 2 receiver role. And with AB gone, Juju just he hasn't had that same level of production. So I guess if Juju's like your number 2 or number 3 receiver, I think that would be cool. But how much money is he going to garner? He might want to get paid as a number 1 receiver. But I don't know about you, Damian. You think Juju Smith-Schuster is a number 1 receiver? I mean, I don't know. I mean, he hasn't really proved that in Pittsburgh. And 49er Faithful is responding to the question I had for everyone. What is everyone's top 5 49er players who need to have a breakout year this season? And this is 49er Faithful list. He has Jimmy G number 1, Debo 2, Ayuk 3, Ward 4, and Bosa 5. And he's back to 100%. All right. That's a good list. I respect it. That's a very good list. And I guess we'll get into my number 1. So my list, just for people who are just tuning in, my top 5 49er players who need to have a breakout season. My number 5 was Eric Armstead. I think he should have a double-digit sack season and continue to be stout against the run. My number 4 was Mike McGlinchey. He needs to be better against pass blocking. Also, we know he's a beast in the running game, but he needs to get better in the pass blocking, and he's in a contract year. Number 3, Javon Kinlaw. Expectations are really high for Kinlaw, and we expect him to be a force on that defensive line in the middle of the defense. Number 2, Deebo Samuel. He's got to have a bounce back year from last year. Last year was not a good season for Deebo, and we definitely need him to bounce back. And number 1, it's the guy that touches the ball on every snap. Faithful. It's Jimmy G. That's my quarterback. Jimmy G definitely has to have a breakout season this year. Unfortunately, with Jimmy G, we all know Faithful. It's the injuries. Jimmy G hasn't been healthy. Jimmy G has basically only had one season where he was healthy, and that season allowed us to get to the Super Bowl. Jimmy G definitely put the team on his back in a few games in the season. But, the 49er team definitely benefited from a strong running game, strong O-line, and a great pass rush and a great defense. And Jimmy G plays his part. He stays healthy. He can parlay that into a contract with another team next year. But Jimmy G got to stay healthy. And Jimmy G has to play well. I think he should have, a pretty good game, the first game of the season against Detroit. And then the second game of the season against Philly. I think he should play pretty well against those teams. And then against the Packers on Sunday Night Football prime time. I think Jimmy G should have, a few layups the first few games of the season. And from all reports, Jimmy G has looked real good in minicamp. And, I'm looking to, if Jimmy plays every game this year, I think that's definitely a positive. That's a huge accomplishment, and it puts the 49ers in great position to go to the playoffs and have a deep playoff run. So my number 1 player who needs to have a breakout season is Jimmy G. Let's continue with these comments. Let's see. David says AJ Green faked those injuries so he doesn't want to play with the Bengals. I mean, man, there's no doubt AJ Green, he had prolific seasons with the Bengals, receiving yards, catches, touchdowns. I mean, he had Andy Dalton throwing him the ball, but unfortunately with that Bengals team, they just never had much playoff success. I don't think they won a playoff game in Cincinnati under Marvin Lewis and the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton. I don't think they won a playoff game. I don't think so. So, yeah, it's very unfortunate for AJ Green. We'll see what he does with them good old AZ Cardinals. Let's see. David says, go Suns. Yeah, good luck to your Suns, man. They looking pretty good. Sucks that Chris Paul, got COVID, and we'll see what happens. But the Suns are looking pretty good. They could represent the West in the finals. Niner Faithful says, I swear the NBA doesn't want Chris Paul to get a ring. The NBA vetoed that Chris Paul trade to the Lakers. And then, man, I don't know what it is. Chris Paul, why is he always getting hurt in the playoffs? I don't get it. It's the hamstring. It's the shoulder. Chris Paul. But, he's played really well in the last series. The team they swept, I think it's the Denver Nuggets. Yeah. But, yeah, the Suns have been looking really good. It's exciting to see them in the playoffs because we usually don't see the Suns, in the deep playoff runs. 49ers Ultimate Report giving us an update with 26 likes. Yeah, I appreciate everyone liking the stream. And if you're watching on the Spotlight Sports Network, appreciate you coming through. Make sure you leave a like on the channel, on the video. And I appreciate the update, 49ers Ultimate Report. David Renteria says, facts, he gets terrible luck in the playoffs. Yeah, he does. He has terrible luck, Chris Paul, with staying healthy in the season. 49er Faithful says, to start, I'll trade K1 and a second for Gilmore. Ooh. Now, K1 is on a 1-year deal. The odds of us signing him to a long-term extension next year are probably not likely. But then who will we have to play the slot? Because K1 Williams, when healthy, he's definitely one of the best, nickel slot corners in the NFL. Emmanuel Mosley, he's played more the outside corner position. I don't know if he would be suited for that, or one of the rookies, Lenore or Ambry Thomas. Maybe you put them in the slot. But I don't know. That's an interesting trade. That's a very interesting trade. David Renteria, he says the Cardinals. Yeah, I think you're talking about Rodney Hudson. Yeah, Rodney Hudson was traded to the Cardinals. That's definitely a good move by the Cardinals. And it's like the Giants won today. It's very good, Tommy. Damian says Juju is a number 2. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And then on the Niners, he could be a number 2, and maybe Debo would be a number 3. I could see that, or vice versa. And David says Juju is just going to be doing his cringy TikTok dances. LOL. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to do that, you got to back it up, man. You got to back it up with your play. You know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, Juju definitely hasn't backed up his play. And I think that's why, the head coach of the Steelers, Mike Tomlin, that's why he, told him, hey, stop doing that before the game. Let's see. Tommy says, check down Jimmy needs to go deep. I feel you. And, Jimmy, was the lack of Jimmy throwing deep, was that because he didn't trust his old line? Was that because he didn't have rapport with his receivers? I'm not sure. But yeah, I think definitely Jimmy should go deep, a little bit more often. But Jimmy also has to have time to throw. And the offensive line has definitely, it's been an issue. And I think Lynch did an excellent job this offseason in solidifying the offensive line. We had to re-sign the big silverback, Trent Williams, the highest paid left tackle in NFL history. Laken Tomlinson is a steady. He's an anchor. He's a role grader at that left guard spot. We signed Alex Mack. He's up there in age, but I think he'll bring stability at that center position, and I think he'll definitely help Jimmy G out. At that right guard, we got to battle faithful. We got to battle Niner Empire. Brunskill and the rookie second round pick from Notre Dame, the Bay Area man, Aaron Banks. So Brunskill and Banks, who's going to win that right guard spot? That's going to be a nice competition in training camp and preseason. And then, of course, you got McGlinchey. McGlinchey's in a contract year. He should ball out. He wants to get that lucrative contract. McGlinchey's going to have to ball out. So I think our offensive line this year is definitely better. And that should definitely benefit Jimmy G. So hopefully he can throw deep a little bit more. And it looks like 49ers Ultimate Report says, at Tommy Huxley, nice one. Okay. And 49ers Ultimate Report says 28 likes. All right. I like that. Keep the likes up. I appreciate it. I'm glad you guys are enjoying the stream. See, David says, y'all have Josh Rosen. Why you don't play him? Y'all signed him for a reason. LOL. I mean, Josh Rosen, has he really impressed anyone since he's been in the league? With the Cardinals, some say he got a raw deal, and yeah, he did. But, that first year, he didn't show much. When he was with Miami, couldn't beat out Fitzmagic. Then he was, think he was cut, and then the Buccaneers got him. So, Rosen is on his fourth team in 3 years. So I'm not sure what to expect from Rosen. Now, if Rosen is starting games, we in trouble. If Rosen is starting meaningful snaps in regular season games, the 49ers are in trouble. Because that means Jimmy's hurt. I think that means Trey Lance is unavailable. And if Rosen plays significant snaps, we're in trouble, and the season's probably over, honestly. So hopefully that does not happen. But yeah, maybe Rosen could be, a third quarterback. That's fine. Tommy Huxley, he says, you didn't give me the what's good. Let me get one. What's good? How you doing, Tommy? I forgot about that. My bad, man. Thanks for letting me know so I can give you that. What's good? And I appreciate you coming through to the stream. Let's see. David says Corvette. Okay. Now the Corvette is a nice car. I agree with you. Tommy says 29 now. All right. Appreciate that. Tommy says Rosen has a bad attitude, I hear. Okay. I mean, I guess as long as he wins and he makes the most out of his opportunity, I guess it won't really matter. But, I wish the best for Rosen. I just don't see him being – I should say I just don't see him playing a significant role on the 49ers. If things go the way I want them to go for the Niners this year, Jimmy G will start, every game this year, lead us to the playoffs. I do want to see Trey Lance. Maybe he'll have some packages, specific packages that he'll perform in the game at the quarterback position. I wouldn't mind that. But I think, Jimmy gives this team the best chance to win when healthy. Unless Trey Lance just blows us out the water, But it's up to Shanahan. Whoever Shanahan feels gives us the best chance to win. That's all that matters, whether that's Trey Lance, Jimmy G. Looks like David says 49ers have 2 players out for the season and another player getting suspended. Not good. I know, right? Jeff Wilson Jr. out 4 to 6 months. I believe they say he's going to be back in November at the earliest. So at least he'll have fresh legs for that, that playoff push in November, December. Justin School, yep, torn ACL. He's out for the rest of the year. He's back with the team. No one claimed him on waivers. And Tavarius Moore, torn Achilles, and he's out for the year. So, yeah, definitely unfortunate. And then now Jordan Willis suspended for the first 6 games of the year due to PED use. So that's unfortunate as well. Hopefully we won't have too much more bad news, right? Tommy says, that was perfect right there, Jay. Love it. Cool, man. And Tommy, how you doing on a Thursday? Let me know, man. How you doing on a Thursday? Let's see. David says, I like Rosen because he got us the number 1 pick. Oh, man. Yeah, you got Rose. You like Rosen for all the wrong reasons. Let's see. Rosen got the head coach fired. I think the Cardinals head coach was one and done. Rosen was then traded. So yeah, a lot went wrong with the Arizona Cardinals that year that Rosen was the starter. But hey, you got a new head coach. You got Kyler. What do you think, David, since you're an Arizona Cardinals fan, what do you think will be the Cardinals record this year? And will what's his name? Will the head coach, his name is escaping me right now, Cliff Kingsbury, will he get the Cardinals to the playoffs? Because y'all was looking good last year, and then Kyler had that shoulder injury, and the team just wasn't the same. So let me know in the comment section, what do you think the Cardinals record will be? 49ers Ultimate Report, what's good? He says, where did you get that hat? I like that hat. I appreciate you, man. I think I got it on I think it was NFL.com or something, I think. So, yeah, I had to get something, that said that's 75. That's a big deal. Niners been in business since 1946. And this is obviously a unique year. So, yeah, I had to get something that said that's 75. John J. Let's see. Tommy says, yeah, that hat is dope. Looks good on you, Jay. Appreciate you, man. John, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. How you doing today? Hopefully you're staying cool because it is hot today. It's supposed to be hot the next few days. Hopefully everyone's staying cool. And we just talking about the red and gold. Let's see. Tommy says, none were starters, David. Okay. Tommy says, Thursday is good. I got my neck adjusted by my chiro, but it is hot. Yeah, I know. It is hot. So hopefully everyone can stay inside, stay cool. Tommy says, Tommy says Cliff Dingleberry is the worst coach in the NFC West, and it isn't even close. Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. There's a lot of competition, obviously, in the NFC West. Cliff, hasn't been able to get his team to the playoffs. He's definitely the least accomplished head coach in the division. So, yeah. But honestly, a lot of coaches who come in the NFC West, and especially if they're a first-time head coach, they're going to be the worst coach. I mean, you got Pete Carroll, you got McVay, you got Shanahan. All three of those coaches have gone to a Super Bowl. So it's a lot of competition, man. Let's see. David says, I think the only reason why the Cardinals signed Cliff Kingsbury because he taught Mahomes. I think 12-5. Our kicker cost us the game. Now we got a good kicker from the Lions who never missed a game, winning field goal. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Kingsbury, taught Mahomes, and I'm sure the Cardinals management thought, hey, let's get Kingsbury in here. He can teach, Kyler Murray, and maybe he could be, maybe as good as Mahomes. So, and for those that are just tuning in, I had a question up. I had a question of the top 5 49er players who need to have a breakout season. And if you're just tuning in, go ahead, drop down your list of the top 5 49er players who need to have a breakout season. And my list was number 5, Eric Armstead. Number 4, Mike McGlinchey. Number 3, Javon Kinlaw. Number 2, Deebo Samuel. And number 1, Jimmy G. So if you can, leave your top 5 list, or leave your list of your top 5 49er players who need to have a breakout season. If you're just tuning in. Let's see. John says, doing good. It's 109 here in Sac. Woo-wee. He says, you see Trey Lance throwing to Sanu. What you think? Yeah, I saw that. Trey Lance looking good. Sanu is looking refreshed. Sanu had a cup of coffee with the team last year. He played 3 games, but only had 1 target. So I was surprised that the Niners signed Sanu in the offseason. Obviously Sanu, he knows the playbook. He knows Shanahan's system, but what else does Sanu have left? But Sanu looked good. So we'll see what he brings to the table. Let's see. Kingsbury couldn't win with Mahomes, though. That is very true. At Texas Tech, yeah. I mean, but when was the last time Texas Tech won a national title? So, a lot of coaches probably can't win at Texas Tech. But yeah, Kingsbury has yet to get the team to the playoffs. So this could be a make or break year for Kingsbury. David said, if you didn't watch them in college, your offense was fire, but defense was crap. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you got to score points. That's definitely, obviously very important. You got to score points to win the game. Something else I wanted to talk about were the NFL updated COVID-19 protocols. Not sure if everyone had heard about this, but basically, the NFL has updated their COVID-19 protocols. And for players that are fully vaccinated, there are certain perks that come with that. And one of the perks for a fully vaccinated NFL player this year, they do not have to daily test for the COVID disease. They do not have to test for that. Masks are not required at club facilities or during team travel. And this is if you're fully vaccinated. No physical distancing is required in the club facility with other vaccinated individuals. No quarantine required after high-risk exposure to COVID. No travel restrictions. No capacity limits in weight room when all fully vaccinated. So I believe on the Niners, there was about 75 to 80% of the players who are fully vaccinated. And obviously, I think this is the way to go. A lot of people are obviously getting vaccinated. And it seems like that's obviously a good idea. Hopefully all our players can get fully vaccinated. Some of the other policies that are updated is fully vaccinated players may eat in the cafeteria with other fully vaccinated individuals. No restrictions on social media, marketing, sponsorship opportunities. And they obviously can use the team facilities, and fully vaccinated players can interact with vaccinated family and friends during team travel. That's a huge deal right there. I mean, that's normalcy that we all want in this world, you know? And that's cool that fully vaccinated players can interact with their vaccinated family and friends during team travel. You know, I think that's definitely something that's cool. And I'm glad to see that things are starting to get back to normal. Let's see. 49ers Ultimate Report says, I'm so lucky I live in SF. It's hot, but not 103 degrees. Yeah, I'm sure in SF it's probably what, like high 80s, most likely in SF. But yeah, I'm sure it feels much better over there. You got the bay right there. So Tommy Huxley says Pete Carroll, 2 national championships, almost 3. Yep. And then also he should have 2 Super Bowl titles, but we all know what happened in the last game. Tommy says it's 100 now, John J. Okay, 49ers Ultimate Report, a cool 76 in the city. And I bet there's a breeze there too. Yeah, that's nice. David says it's 111 in Tucson. Hot diggity dog. Man, really hot. I can imagine in Vegas right now, it's probably what's the weather in Vegas? Let's see. It's probably like at least 110, 115. And David meant to say Tucson. Let's see. In Reno right now, it's 99. And in Vegas, it is 113 on that strip. Woo-wee. Let's see. Tommy also says, watch out for the Indian variant. It hit the U.S. And looks like John responded to the question I had for the viewers, like the top 5 49ers who need to have a breakout season this year. And John's list is number 1, Trey Lance. He says he's ready to move on from Jimmy G. What? What are you talking about, John? You ready to move on from Jimmy G? All right, I respect that. He says number 2, Nick Bosa, come back strong from injury. Yep. Number 3, McGlinchey. He looks bulkier than previous seasons. Yep, that's a good start. He says number 4, Jalen Hurd or whoever is our 3rd wide receiver. And number 5, I don't know. Okay. I like your list. I respect it. Yeah, I mean, Hurd, Jennings, Richie James, I think those will probably be the players vying for that number 3 wide receiver spot. And I can't wait to see how it plays out in training camp and preseason. Let's see. Tommy says, John Cone convinced me Jimmy G limits us too much. Buy Felicia and sign more starters and cornerback and another receiver. So let's test out your theory, Tommy. So if the Niners trade Jimmy G, you know, obviously they would have about $24 million more in salary. But are you comfortable with a quarterback competition between Trey Lance and Josh Rosen, and the winner obviously will be the starting cornerback? Are you comfortable with that? Or do you think they will be better than Jimmy G? Let me know in the comments section. Tommy says, but if they decide to keep Jimmy, I got to roll with my team. All right. Yeah, I mean, I think Jimmy, you know, if our starting quarterback, if Jimmy G wasn't on the team and we had like Brian Hoyer or something, then yeah, I would be like, okay, let Trey Lance start week 1 or let him battle it out with Josh Rosen, you know, and whoever Shanahan feels gives the team the best opportunity to win, then we roll with that. But, you know, Jimmy has proven when healthy, he gives the team a good chance to win. And it'll be interesting to see during the season if Jimmy G would be on a short leash. Like, let's say, obviously, if the team has a winning record and Jimmy G is playing well, he's not turning over the ball, and I can see Jimmy G playing the entire season and starting every game if he's healthy. Now, if the team starts off at 3-3 and Jimmy is turning over the ball, then I can see us probably moving to Trey Lance to see what he has. But Jimmy G playing well benefits not only Jimmy G, but it benefits the team. So I think Jimmy G, you know, I think he gives us the best chance to win. So I appreciate everyone's thoughts today. If there's anyone who just tuned in, make sure you leave your list of your top 5 49er players who need to have a breakout season. Go ahead, drop down your list. I would definitely read it. And let me know any questions, comments for Jay in the Bay. Let me know. Drop them down in the comment section. And also drop down your top 5 49 players who need to have a breakout season. And let's continue with these comments. All right. So Tommy says, I'm down with starting Jimmy G week 1. Okay. I'm down with that as well. John says, I don't mind having Jimmy for the time being. Give Trey more time to develop, but Trey is future for this franchise the moment we draft him. I totally agree with you. There's no need to rush Trey when we have a quarterback who's played in high leverage moments. We have a quarterback when healthy. He's not the best quarterback in the NFL, but he gives a chance. He gives the 49ers a chance to win every time he's under center in Jimmy G. He knows the system. And Trey is very young. There's no need to rush him because we already have a quarterback in front of him who's played, at the highest level. And Trey, just develop, learn the playbook, get used to the speed of the NFL, and there's no rush. There's no rush to have him start game 1. And it looks like Tommy agrees with John's point. I do too. Looks like Tommy says the problem is Jimmy is paid too much for a check down Charlie. I mean, that's the market for quarterbacks. I mean, during that time in 2017, we had, Brian Hoyer. The 49ers definitely were desperate to get, a quarterback. Jimmy G was available from the Patriots. All we traded over was a 2nd-round pick. You could argue we didn't have to sign him to a contract extension, a 5-year deal, but we wanted to provide Jimmy G with peace of mind. Also, we wanted to put all our eggs in the Jimmy G basket. And some would say that hasn't paid off. I would say he got us to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, didn't win. But a lot is riding on this year, not only for the team, but for Jimmy G. So hopefully he plays every game. And hopefully he extends the field. Hopefully he'll throw deep passes. We'll see. 49ers Ultimate Report says, not a Grant fan. Sorry, Tommy. John says, either way, whatever Kyle Shanahan decides, trust the process. Trey or Jimmy, big trust. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Bang, bang, Niner gang. I totally agree with you, John. I trust Kyle Shanahan. And whoever he feels gives the Niners the best chance to win, that's what we're rolling with. I think it's Jimmy G at this point, unless Trey Lance just blows Jimmy G out the water, and that's why I'm excited to see Trey Lance play in the preseason. Hopefully he'll start some games so he can actually go up against starters on an opposing defense. And that's definitely what I'm looking forward to. I want to see how he looks against a starting caliber defense. Tommy Huxley says, John, exactly. Tommy says, it's okay. I don't agree with Grant all the time, but he is a really good guy. He helps a lot of aspiring sports writers, so I respect him. Yeah, Grant, he's got his takes. He knows what he's doing. He is the biggest 49er YouTuber, Grant Cohen, that is. He's got, 30,000+ subscribers. I definitely enjoy his work. I can't watch every video because he puts out like 10, 12 videos a day, man. Like he's got a lot of content, but Tommy's right. Like he does put on a lot of aspiring writers. He puts on a lot of YouTube content creators. And let's face it, if some of those people didn't go on Grant Cohen, their own YouTube channels wouldn't be as successful. So he definitely puts people on. Grant Cohen definitely is not afraid of, I wouldn't say grilling Shanahan, but I would say Grant doesn't drink the Kool-Aid. He questions the 49ers. He questions Lynch. He questions Shanahan. And, I think that's a good thing. I think you need that. I think you need that. And Grant does an excellent job in that area. And yeah, I think Grant, he's cool. I can't watch every video because sometimes I don't always agree with him, but I think he's cool. I think he's not a bad guy, So CG Ruthless, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, CG. How you doing, man? Hopefully you staying cool. I think you might be working today, but yeah, hopefully you staying cool, CG. Because I know it's probably hot where you're at as well. It's like Tommy says, Jay, exactly. We need to win a championship for Christ's sakes. Yeah, it's been a long time. It's been 94. 94 has been a long time. So, hopefully Jimmy G can get us there and the team. Hopefully we have health on our side. And Monica, what's good? Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you coming through. We just talking about the good old red and gold. I had a question for all my subscribers and people that are watching. Let me put that up on the ticker. Let me know, Monica, top 5 49er players who need to have a breakout season. Let me know in the comment section. My list, Monica, was, so I had Eric Armstead at 5, McGlinchey at 4, Kinlaw at 3, Debo at 2, and Jimmy G at 1. So let me know your list of the top 5 49er players who need to have a breakout season. CG says, I'm glad Grant Cohn come to my stream. I'm getting off in a bit. It's hot. Yeah, man. Try to stay cool out there. Yeah, see, exactly. Grant Cohn, he goes to, other people's YouTube channels. I think Grant Cohn is cool in moderation, but yeah, Grant Cohn went on the CG's channel, and that's dope. That's dope for CG, 49ers Ultimate Report says, in the YouTube community, Grant has worked the system on YouTube to build a channel and makes a lot of money, and I give him respect, but not a fan. I dig it, man. He definitely know what he's doing on YouTube, man. Like he's pushing out that content. So, he's doing an excellent job for that. It's no doubt Grant puts in the work. He's a hard worker for sure. Like he's putting out 10, 12 videos a day. Like, yeah, Grant definitely knows what he's doing. Much respect to Grant. And I like when Grant has his father on as well on his YouTube. I like their when those two are on together. It's like Monica says, okay, let me make one. Tommy says, what up, CG? You scared off Cardinals Nation. You own that, clown. Oh, man. CG says, Grant Cohn apologized for not having me on his streams in the past when he didn't need to. All right, man. That's nice of Grant Cohn to do, man. And while Monica makes her list, let's see. CG CG says, Tommy, I put milk carton nowhere to be found, Tommy. That's funny. And Tommy says, CG Ruthless, Grant apologize for putting me in timeout, LOL. Man, that's funny. It's like John says, Grant's dad got to turn down that volume every time, LOL. Oh, man. Yeah, Grant and Lowell, they have a good, I like watching them together on camera. They have a good dynamic. I would say they're pessimists, and I choose to be optimistic, but I respect their opinion. They're obviously sports writers. Lowell Cohen he's been writing probably before I was born. So I definitely respect him and their opinion, but they don't necessarily drink the Kool-Aid. They question everything that Shanahan and Lynch do, and I respect that. Nothing wrong with that. It's like Tommy says, John, that's true. The last time he had it right for once. And I appreciate everyone coming through, especially if you're watching on that good old Spotlight Sports Network. Appreciate you hitting that like button. Appreciate you subscribing. And obviously everyone on Jay in the Bay. Let's see. 49ers Ultimate Report says, thanks. Why YouTube reward 1K sub and higher to monetization? I'm not sure what you mean. But yeah, once you reach that 1K sub, and you get those 4,000 watch hours, yep, you can get monetized. So that's definitely a goal of mine. I definitely enjoy doing this. This is like an outlet for me, besides the normal grind of, the day-to-day work and things like that. So I definitely look forward to doing these streams. I look forward to, doing the videos talking about the Niners. Hopefully you guys can see that. And I can't wait till the season starts. And I do plan on streaming an hour before and an hour after, like the primetime games, especially like the Sunday night games, and the Monday night games. It most likely be the Monday night. For Sunday night, I'm not sure if I have time because I'll be doing a post live stream after the Niner games, talking with the fans about the game, what you like, what didn't you like, Jay and the Bay's game ball of the week, all that good stuff. So I like to look forward from Jay and the Bay YouTube channel. And Monica says, in no particular order, off the dome, Kinlaw, Bosa, Ibukum, Ayuk, and Sermon. Hard to choose 5. I respect that list for sure. So I had Kinlaw on mine and Ayuk. Or no, I think I just had Kinlaw on my list. Yeah. But yeah, that's good that you have different players. I definitely respect that. CG says, I still got a long ways. I'm almost at 2,400 watch hours. Yeah, I think I'm around that as well. I think the last time I checked. So yeah, those watch hours definitely is something. It's almost like at an ant's pace. It's, it takes time, but just got to continue pushing out content and continue connecting with other YouTubers. But yeah, definitely it'll come. CG. Fortnite's Ultimate Report says, I mean, that why YouTube reward 1K sub and higher to monetization. I don't know. I don't know why YouTube does that. I just started doing YouTube in August of 2020. So I don't know if the requirements were less, a few years ago. I don't know. But, that's YouTube rules. CG says, for the time being, I'll mix up content till Niners news pops up. Yep. I've been seeing that. Yeah, you doing your wrestling and things like that. But yeah, I see you, man. Osby Sports coming back through. He says, yes, sir. I appreciate you coming back through, Osby. And yeah, I appreciate everyone coming on. I just wanted to, hop on here. We had some breaking news about the Niners. Defensive end Jordan Willis suspended 6 games for PED use. So that's one less edge rusher on the defensive line. I also want to talk about the state of the franchise, June 30th, 6 p.m. Pacific. Make sure you guys mark your calendars. And I believe the only way you can watch the state of the franchise on June 30th, you have to download the 49ers app. So make sure you guys do that and mark your calendars down for June 30th. And a lot of news will be discussed during the state of the franchise June 30th. And also, of course, wanted to talk about the top 5 49er players who need to have a breakout season. And most likely I will be streaming again on Sunday, and I'll have another top 5 involving 49er players. And I'll definitely hopefully see everyone there on Sunday, and of course, new subscribers as well. But I think we have a few more comments. Let's see. John says, any thoughts on Fred Warner's contract? When we going to resign him? I don't know what the 49ers are waiting on. We definitely, Fred Warner definitely has earned his contract. It's not a matter of if we resign him, but when. With Kittle, I think it was last year or the year before. I think it was last year we re-signed Kittle. And I think that was in August or September we re-signed Kittle. So maybe they'll sign Fred Warner then. But there's no doubt he's definitely earned his contract. I think he's proven to be, the best middle linebacker in the NFL. And I can't wait to see him in red and gold for years to come. Let's see. John says, hashtag pay the man. Exactly. Tommy says maybe late July. Monica says the day before training camp. LOL. Livy's World, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. It's like Tommy's list is Mostert, McGlinchey, Armstead, Kinlaw, and Jimmy G. So we have a similar list of the top 5 49ers who need to have a breakout season, and that's a good list. Looking forward to your stream, CG. Looking forward to your stream. And Tommy says that is 5-1 on his list. So yeah, Jimmy G. I mean, yeah, he touches the ball every snap. So he's got to have a breakout year. And yeah, Mostert, he had an injury-riddled year last year. Hopefully, Mostert can come back, and have a breakout season. And 49ers Ultimate Report says YouTube rules for monetization: 1K sub and 4K watch hour before that 12-month period. Yep, yeah. That 4K watch hour is going to be tough to get. I think my year is up in August, so I probably won't get it, but hopefully I'll be closer to the 1K sub. Let's see. Monica says, oh, hell yeah, Tommy, that's the one. CG agrees with Ultimate Report. Tommy says that Bosa is an honorable mention. Okay. And yeah, I appreciate everyone coming through. Let me know if you had any other questions or comments for your boy, Jay in the Bay. I appreciate everyone coming through. And like I said, most likely I will stream again on Sunday, most likely. And hopefully there'll be some more 49ers news. But I like talking about these top 5 49er player questions, and I like to hear you guys' opinion. And of course, I like to input my own opinion, of course. But yeah, that's what's to look forward to most likely on Sunday. And hopefully there'll be some more news that comes out. But it seems like, there are days when I'm like, dang, ain't nothing to really talk about with the Niners. And then something happens, like Jordan Willis getting suspended today. That happened like 2 hours ago. So, we'll see. Hopefully there's some more news. Hopefully there's some more news that comes out. Tommy, question for me. He says, what if CAT really spelled dog? Interesting question, Tommy. And Monica, when it rains, it pours. Oh, man. Tommy says that might come to fruition. Oh, man. You're funny, Tommy. Hopefully you enjoyed that, Monica. Hopefully I won't be saying that too much during the season. But I appreciate everyone coming through. And I guess I will see you guys most likely Sunday. I'm not 100% sure about the time, but you guys will see the thumbnail up in the near future. And glad you like that, Monica. Appreciate you. And looks like Tommy says your catchphrases are classic. I appreciate you, man. And Monica says that's why I'm getting those in before the season. Yeah, hopefully I won't have to say that too much during the season. I mean, obviously, I don't think we're going 17-0, but I guess we'll see. We won't want to hear that then. Exactly. I know that the opposing teams will want to hear that though. 49ers Lakers for life. I'll see you. See you in the next stream. Appreciate everyone coming through. Appreciate everyone liking, subscribing to Jay in the Bay, YouTube, IG, and Twitter. And I will see you guys in the next one real soon. Thanks for tuning in to your boy, Jay in the Bay. See you guys in the next one.